Millions of boys across the country dream of being professional footballers. Around 9,000 will make it into an academy. Only 2% of these will be signed to reach their ultimate goal. Following 3 AFC Bournemouth Academy players in the final months of the season, we will witness their highs, their lows, and ultimately discover who will achieve their dream and get offered a life-changing professional contract. The first hopeful is 18-year-old Lewis Blackmore.
Lewis has the best attitude in the group and he will do anything that he can to give himself the best opportunity to progress.
The second hopeful is 18-year-old Chad Collins.
Chad Collins is a comical character and the cheeky chap amongst the group.
The third hopeful is 18-year-old Brandon Goodship.
Brandon's got a great attitude, but he's very focused and very single-minded and driven.
With 8 weeks until the signing, the players are training hard in an attempt to stand out and impress youth team manager Ross.
Training sessions are very important. Being the coach, I would say that. I feel that in terms of the development to get the boys closer to becoming professionals, but also the types of professionals that the club want, it's important that we develop them in a certain way. I think it's important that they apply themselves and we put on the right type of coaching to help them get to the next level.
I'm with the boys every day. I work with them both in the classroom and around the training ground. When the boys come for a scholarship, their first thoughts are, I'm going to play football every day. They have no thought about anything else whatsoever. It's my job and it's the rest of the staff's job really to bring them back down to earth.
When I was younger, I realised I'd want to do it every day, and just seeing parents do other jobs and stuff, you don't think you're ever going to be like that. Like a standard kid, really didn't really think that much of education because I always thought I was going to play football. Ultimate dream to have had a successful career in football and be about 50 years old, being in Barbados and just saying, look, I've done all that, and being able to look through and say that I've been a professional footballer and have all the money and all the happiness that comes with it.
I now play as a goalkeeper. I used to play as a central midfield player until I broke my leg and then I was too scared to tackle anybody again, so I started playing in goal. The main thing I need to improve on is, one, my attitude. Maybe sometimes just turning up on time. My ultimate dream is to play for Manchester United and possibly my country one day. I don't want to be stuck in a dead-end job on no money. I want to be on the most money I can be on.
I play up front mainly because that's how my dad taught me to play as a striker. Like, he taught me everything, mostly what I know about football. So I used to love getting up on a Saturday morning and going to training, and whenever it was cancelled I used to sit on my sofa and cry, so I'd rather be playing football every day than in a classroom doing work. My ultimate dream is to play for Newcastle United when I'm older, because that's my boyhood club who I've supported all my life.
Lewis's attitude is incredible. It's the best that I've seen for a lad of his age. He does all the right types of things to prepare, to recover and give himself the best opportunity to progress. For what he lacks in terms of his technical ability, he makes up with his passion and attitude towards it. Brandon is a typical goal scorer, very selfish, and a lot of what he does is about him, but that's a big part of his quality. Brandon's attitude is difficult to detect to begin with because he comes across as quite a selfish individual, but once you get to know him you realise that he really, really wants to become a footballer and he'll do as much as he can to get there. Everything about Chad is lovable. You know, he makes you laugh, he makes you frown a lot of the time, but you know that everything he does comes from him being a good character and a good lad. People will wonder how serious he is about it all. He is very driven, but he's got this exterior that makes everybody think that he's just a bit of a joker.
With 7 weeks to go, Brandon and Lewis try to prove themselves in a crucial game against Hereford. Both boys quickly get into the game, with Brandon scoring twice in the first half, and Lewis giving his all for the team. In the second half, Brandon's success continues, scoring again and achieving his hat-trick. In a match against Dagenham and Redbridge, Chad triumphs in the first half, pulling off a couple of great saves. But during the second half, in the 72nd minute, Chad threatens to jeopardise everything when he involves himself in a scuffle with the opposition.
In the first half, the big lad, the centre-back, has elbowed one of our players in the face, and I just stepped across and pushed him out of the way before it got any worse and he took it the wrong way. I'm happy that I did it, I'm just sticking up for the boys.
Outside of the academy, the boys constantly have the decision on their minds. They all have their individual reasons on wanting to succeed. For 18-year-old Lewis, life hasn't always been easy.
From an early age, I've stayed away from influences that probably kids my age didn't have to try and avoid. People that I knew at the school were like dealing drugs and all that sort of thing, and being around it, you realise that it's not a good way to go. But luckily I could play football, so I had a kind of a way out from it. So that made me realise I had to do something with myself. I've had to leave people behind in life that I really didn't want to. One of my best friends had a drug addiction, which I had to try and help him through, but at the same time, that's just say, sorry, I'm going to have to leave him behind, and he was my best friend, so I had to do stuff like that for football. So that's probably one of the biggest sacrifices I made. Getting a contract basically means all the hard work and sacrifice that I've put in is paid off, really. So I think the reaction from my family they would just be more relieved than anything. I think they feel so uptight about it and not knowing what's going to happen. I think the biggest thing, they'll just be relieved that it's all paid off, because I think they'll think that I'll go the wrong way if it doesn't.
My attitude in school wasn't the best. I was kicked out of various lessons. I disrupted a lot of lessons. It made me more determined to focus on my football, because I didn't really have any qualifications as such. I had 4 GCSEs to come out of school with. And I enjoy going out with my mates, maybe sometimes going out gambling. I've got a bit of a problem with that. My behaviour and attitude will play a massive role in the decision of me getting a professional contract, especially because sometimes my behaviour disrupting things, maybe going out sometimes and getting into trouble, that will play a massive role in it. But if I cut it out, then I think I'll be offered something.
I'd like to think that I'd do anything to achieve my goal of being a professional football player. It would mean everything to me, considering I've been working towards it for the majority of my life. My family have supported me throughout it, so it's quite a big part of my life and my family's life. My dad comes to every game, home and away, but my mum and sisters and brothers and stuff will usually normally come to the home games. My dad will always push me to do my best and stuff like that. Mostly from him, the pressure would come from. And my family are really supportive. They've been by my side my whole life, so it'd be as much pain caused to me than it would to them if I didn't get a contract. I would feel as though I let them down massively.
With 6 weeks to go, Ross reflects on each of the players in their progress report.
Lewis's progression is very erratic, exactly like probably a lot of his performances on the pitch. He wants to do the best that he possibly can. He gives himself the chance to do the best that very best that he can, but he can be quite rushed in his technical ability at times, which is something that obviously we would need to address and have been trying to address to make sure that he progresses as a footballer. Sometimes the negatives can outweigh the positives. Chad's progression has been slow because of injury. He came back and hit the ground running and was very progressive and very positive in his performance, and it helped the team to win a few games. And then he hit injury again, so it's been very up and down for Chad. But when he has performed or when he has played, it's been very, very good. The thing that will hold him back is making sure that he knows when to toe the line, because sometimes it can get him to a little bit of trouble. Brandon's progression is probably consistent, is probably the best way to describe Brandon. He started slowly and his performances on the pitch are always very, very consistent, and he can come up with the unknown, real bits of quality in the game, but overall it's been a steady process for Brandon. Sometimes the loan system works that we ask the boys to go and play in men's football to get the experience of playing against adults.
This is the case for Brandon, who has just been loaned to Blackfield and Langley for the remainder of the season. Suddenly, disaster strikes when manager Ross leaves the club. With only 5 weeks to go, this sudden departure leaves a huge impact on the academy, potentially affecting the outcome of the crucial decision.
Ross leaving left a massive impact on not just me but the rest of the team. Like, everyone was disappointed and was a bit shocked, to be honest. Everyone was gutted.
I didn't really know, to be honest, till he had left, but I was a bit disappointed when he had gone, because he was always there for me, but it's just what happens in football.
After the period of time that I've spent with all the boys, it's very difficult to not be there at the close of it all and the final big decision. And I was one of 12 redundancies across the football club. I think what it will have done is cause a little bit of uncertainty, because they've been used to working with me and my boundaries and the way that I do things, and now they're going to be working with completely different people who are going to have completely different expectations of them. And that's really difficult when you're becoming so close to such a major decision or a major part of your career. He's having that upheaval and uncertainty. I don't think he's going to help.
With tensions still raw from the massive upheaval, the players are trying their best to impress their new manager, Paul.
You gotta go orange! You gotta go orange!
With only 4 weeks left, pressure is at an all-time high.
The Greens lose it, they've got to go and get after it as quick as they can, yeah?
In a match with Blackfield and Langley, things get off to a frustrating start, with Brandon failing to make the starting lineup. Finally, in the 81st minute, Brandon gets his opportunity, but fails to make an impact on the game.
It's always disappointing not to play the whole game. Every player wants to start and play as much as they can. I wouldn't say necessarily made a massive impact on it as well as I'd hoped. I think the coaches do think I'm a good player, but I just need to get a chance to start the game and try and impress them more.
Things don't go much better for Lewis in his match for Bournemouth against Luton. He attempts to create chances for the team, but his performance doesn't pay off as the match ends in a 0-0 draw. Chad is forced to watch from the sidelines after suffering a painful injury for the 3rd time this season.
Chad's got an injury which in the physio world we call osteitis pubis. It's basically inflammation of one of the bony points around his hip. So where he's doing lots of diving, twisting, turning in goal, it's putting quite a lot of stress through where the muscles attached to the bone. He's getting quite a lot of pain into his groin at the moment. We're expecting him to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. If Chad wasn't honest with us and he carried on playing through the pain, then simply his symptoms wouldn't settle and he wouldn't get better, and ultimately his performance is going to be affected. Keeping him out of action is obviously not going to put him in the spotlight to the coaches, if you like.
I see the physio every day at the moment, just getting treatment and massages and stuff. Being injured's really frustrating, it's literally all you want to do, you just want to be out on the field training. When you see everyone else training, it's just quite disappointing, really.
With 3 weeks to go until the crucial decision, Paul assesses each of the players' progression over the last few weeks.
Lewis has progressed over the last few weeks, as he has done really throughout the course of the season. Louis has always been probably the technique side of things is an area where he just needs to try to tidy up. And sometimes his level of enthusiasm probably boils over to the point where it becomes a little bit scruffy, his technique. Louis improved, there's no doubt about it. It's just trying to tidy him up all the time, really. Chad Collins, as a person, as a character, he likes to laugh and a joke, but I think he's recognised the right time and to work and the right time to have a laugh and a joke. So, you know, he's got the balance. He's got the balance better now. It's been a difficult time for Chad over the last few weeks in terms of his progression, because he's been fighting a little bit of fitness in that he missed the first half of the season, and that's a big time for him. He's ended up picking up another little niggle now, which may keep him out for a couple of weeks. So it's been a little bit of a difficult period for him at this moment of time, especially with the decisions coming up. Brandon's progressed very well over the last few weeks because he's gone out on loan, because he's embraced that experience. At times, he doesn't like the physical side, you know, of the game, and it's something that I think as he gets older, as he becomes more mature, and Brandon's clever with his play as well, that he will learn to come up with different ways that enable him really to give opponents real problems without getting too involved in a physical battle. People pay a lot of money for goal scorers, and he is a goal scorer. Everything sort of comes down really to this last month, so it's a huge time for him really.
One person who knows how the boys are feeling is first team player Josh McCoyd, who also went through the academy.
They'll probably be feeling really nervous. There's a lot of anxiety, you've got to wait around, so that's a horrible feeling, but I think once you know where you can go forward from there. I can remember now, we used to go to Brockenhouse College and we were waiting around in a room and getting called in one by one, so it's not a very nice feeling. Obviously you want everyone to get one, but only a select few do. Being a professional footballer, it's better than you ever expect. You're doing what you love every day around great lads, and obviously at this moment in time I'm at a great club. We're doing well, so that's the best you can wish for at any football club.
With only 1 week to go, the pressure is high, and Pete is all too aware of the importance of this life-changing decision.
For these guys next week, in terms of their future, is massive. They've worked not just 2 years on the scholarship. They've worked for probably 5, 6 years to try and achieve being a professional footballer. Don't underestimate it. This is the biggest part of their lives to date. Lewis is, as a person, he's had it quite tough as a youngster. He's had to work really hard against the odds. In terms of not getting a contract, Louis will initially, I think, be quite quiet, then get very busy. If Chad didn't get a contract, his reaction would be fairly quiet initially. He would then go away, think about it, probably come back quite lively, as if it didn't matter. Underneath, it would really matter. If Brandon didn't get a contract, I think he would react quite strongly. Angry, not necessarily, but there'd be a bigger reaction from him. Hey, we'll see what happens.
I'd probably feel gutted if I didn't get signed, first and foremost, because like all the work I've put into it would just be like a kick in the face.
Not getting signed would kind of make me doubt what I was doing for all these years, thinking what was the point really.
To get offered a professional contract would mean everything to me, because I've worked so hard for it all my life. I think I will make it.
Brandon, we'd like to offer you a contract of a year because of your quality in respect of the level of finishing. You've shown that on a consistent basis, technical ability and your professional attitude throughout the 2-year course really that you've been involved in. And so it's good news for yourself, Brandon. Congratulations really for all your hard work and achieving your goal really that you set out to do 2 years ago. Chad, we'd like to offer you 3 months. Over the course of the 2 years, really, you've had long periods of injuries, which have curtailed your time to be able to get any kind of rhythm. We feel that we need to give you an opportunity to earn yourself a longer period of time to reflect really the time that you've spent injured. Your 3 months are a time where you need to really focus and work hard to earn extra time in terms of your contract going forward. It's a very difficult one, Lewis, because every single day really you've given your all, but at this moment in time there is nothing there for you in terms of a contract going forward. We understand it's a very difficult time for yourself, but I think we would like to offer our support in respect of what you would like to do now going forward, because we recognise that you've put a hell of a lot into the 2 years that you've been with us. Or we feel that this disappointment will make you stronger. We'll do everything in our power to try and help you along the way.
When I first got told the news, I was just really happy and relieved to know that all the work I put in the last 2 years has finally paid off. I think I was feeling mostly relief that the whole time I spent here hasn't been wasted. It's been put to good use, and obviously I've got something out of it at the end. My dad's reaction, he was just over the moon for me. He's wanted it as much as I have, because we've been both working for it for a long time. Lewis, well, he's obviously gutted, like anyone would be. I think you could see it in his face that when he got told, he was just so upset, and it was a shock to him, because obviously everyone wants to get one, but not everyone can. Chad was obviously really excited as well as me. I think he was slightly disappointed not to get the year, because that's what everyone works towards in the 2 years, but 3 months is still a big achievement, and he should be happy with that. In 5 years' time, I hopefully see myself making regular appearances for a professional club, whether that be Championship, League 1, League 2. I just want to be playing regular first team football.